Wow. The beginning of the playoffs, well, play-in, not playoffs. The play-in has started off pretty great. This is my first non-scripted video, by the way, so I'm gonna try this out. I took some notes while watching the games because I wanted some talking points to bring up, but I wanted to try fully unscripted this time, so let's go with it. Before we get too far in, I'd like to announce that Rogue Energy is the sponsor of this video. Rogue is designed to be one of the best energy drinks, with zero sugar and zero fillers, but packed with vitamins, brain-enhancing nootropics, and the option to get naturally caffeinated energy drinks. It's a no-brainer to make the switch to a better-tasting, more effective energy drink. With amazing flavors like Rocket Pop, Sour Candy, Pink Lemonade, Rainbow Candy, and even a classic like Fruit Punch, they have a pretty decent selection of drinks and really cool shakers to choose from. I'm not just trying to cash in here either. Rogue is genuinely a drink that I've ordered multiple times and honestly enjoy. Personally, my favorite flavor is Pink Lemonade. If you are interested, but still not entirely sure, they even have a small starter pack that will get you 6 flavors and the shaker cup of your choice, as well as a free sample that you can try. Make sure to check out the link in the description and use code ARA at checkout. Okay, back to the video. We had 2 teams tonight led by aging point guards in Mike Conley and Kyle Lowry, and I don't think anybody expected it, especially the Kyle Lowry game. Actually, even the Mike Conley game, because Mike Conley had like 6 or 7 threes and was almost perfect from the field. He only missed a couple of shots, but even the Kyle Lowry game was pretty crazy. It was probably one of his best career games. Haven't seen this Kyle Lowry in a long time. He I think led them in scoring. It was either him or Tyler Hero, but he had an amazing game. He was knocking down threes. He was driving. He had a couple calls. He had a couple charging calls. Like he got the call. Overall looking really good for them, but unfortunately Jimmy Butler, who started out as the only offensive player for the Heat at the beginning of the first quarter, he ended up having a pretty bad game. Gabe Vincent started off really bad and then ended up going out with an injury. He got hit in the leg twice. I think it was the same leg. He got hit in the leg twice. The end of the first quarter, when the Heat started stepping it up a bit, the crowd got really loud, and that was a really fun little moment. There was back and forth between the two teams. A few misses, but overall a good little back and forth at the beginning of the game. Unfortunately, Bam was kind of non-existent this game. He had some moments here and there, especially in the middle of the second quarter, but overall I think he needs to be better offensively. Defensively, he was great. He had a really good chase down block. He was locking people up. He did really great defensively, but he definitely needed to be more involved offensively for this team to stand a chance. That being said, I think if he was locked in a little bit more offensively, and if Jimmy hit a few more shots, I think this team probably would have blown the Hawks out, but unfortunately that didn't happen, and the two of them had bad games. Like I said, Lowry had a great game. He tried to make up for the holes that they had from Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, especially Bam Adebayo lacking. Strus didn't have that big of a game. I think he hit a couple of threes, but they just allowed way too many open shots from the Hawks, so the Hawks were just able to keep their momentum and their lead no matter what. They just didn't stand a chance from the very beginning. We got to see a bit of Udonis Haslem being a vocal leader. They're going to need more of that if they win this next game and make it in as the 8th seed. I don't know if they're going to. They have a lot to work on between this game and their next game. I think it's possible, and I do still think that they could compete with the top level teams, but if they do make it, then they're going against the Bucks, and especially as of right now, with a very, very lackluster offense and the Bucks having an amazing defense, I don't see that working out. I would see them taking at most one game, but that leadership from Haslem off the bench, even though he didn't play, and he'll probably get clowned for that, he was a great bench veteran for them. He continues to be a great bench veteran. I think it'll be interesting to see if he ends up with a coaching or assistant coaching job. I think he definitely deserves it if that's something he wants. He seems like a really good energy guy. The Hawks bench was really good too, especially Okongwu. We've seen glimpses of John Collins that we haven't seen in a while. Well, I guess we've seen them later this season. He's started stepping it up again, but we haven't seen a good John Collins in a while, and I think we might be slowly getting back to that, so that's exciting. One thing that I noticed from this game, although DeJounte Murray seemed decent on offense, and he definitely picked up where Trae Young couldn't, because, you know, the Heat is notorious for being able to stop Trae Young as hard of a job that is. DeJounte Murray was able to pick it up offensively and as a point guard, a facilitator, but his defensive identity seemed absent tonight. Like, he wasn't getting very many stops. He had a couple really bad fouls, and Jimmy Butler is good at getting fouls, but a couple of them were just bad from Murray. Actually, a couple of them were bad from the Hawks overall, but even with the Heat getting as many free throws as they did, getting as many fouls called as they did, it still wasn't enough. Jimmy was doing really well from the free throw line, but so many times it seemed like he would go up for a layup and it just wouldn't fall, and that just happened too much. But overall, I think if Bam was 50% more reliable on offense this game, they probably would have blown out the Hawks, especially with Kyle Lowry having an insane game. It would have been nice to see some more interactions between Kyle and Bam. I think that would have been really fun. Who knows? Hopefully we get some of that next game. Maybe Kyle keeps it going. Moving on to the Lakers-Timberwolves games. Apparently before the game, Kat said he wasn't 100%, but he still had a really good game. He still played really well. Overall, both teams had a lot of weaknesses. Teams had strengths. The defense from both teams, even though the Timberwolves were missing McDaniels and Gobert, they still had a few really nice defensive plays. So I wanted to praise both teams, actually, for their defense. There were some bad turnovers from both sides and some questionable plays. But I mean, these teams are in the play-in for a reason. They're going to have these plays. And I heard somebody point out that the Lakers tend to play down to their competitors' level. So if they're going up against a bad team, they're going to play bad. If they're going up against a good team, they're going to compete harder. I don't know why that is or what the reasoning is behind that, but they kind of showed that tonight. It definitely looked like the Timberwolves were going to walk out with the win, but the Lakers ended up getting it. There were a lot of missed shots from both teams, especially in the second quarter. We saw it with the Timberwolves and the commentators pointed this out too, the Timberwolves were doing really well cutting. Their off-ball movement was great, especially in the first half. It kind of trailed off in the second half. They kind of seemed a little bit lost at some points, but in the first half their movement was amazing. They could get open shots, and they got the ball to the open man. They just missed them. And the Lakers had this problem too, where they would get the ball to the open man, but they just missed too many shots. We saw missed shots from Austin Reeves. We saw missed shots from Hachimura. Hachimura had a few missed ones. Even Anthony Davis in the first half was missing some pretty open shots, and it was looking a little rough. Anthony Davis played really well overall, though. They just had a few lackluster moments. AD specifically was a big part of the Lakers out-rebounding the Timberwolves. And a big problem with that is probably missing Rudy Gobert after what happened the other day. But, I mean, regardless, you have to play to the best of your abilities with what you've got, and they just could not keep up with the rebounding. AD was going crazy on the glass, so it led to a lot of converted points and turnovers, and it was messy. I really liked the game from Mike Conley, though. He showed that he still has the ability to stay calm in high-pressure moments, and he can slow down the court. We saw a couple possessions where he took an ISO, or he was at the top of the key, and he slowed down the court himself and converted with a 3-point or a nicely placed pass by the end of it, and he just had an insanely good game, and I hope we get to see more of this Mike Conley. I don't think we'll have another game of this many threes or this high volume scoring like tonight, but I do hope that we get to see more of this facilitator Mike Conley, because it was very fun to watch. I think the reffing was a little questionable, although we did have some very beautiful moments of the Lakers fans scream chanting "Ref, you suck," which I loved to see. I thought it was very funny. I don't think the reffing, like, overall, the officiating on this game was that bad. I don't think it swayed the momentum of the game or anything, but we definitely had some really bad calls, especially with goaltending. There were like 2 or 3. There was one really bad goaltending call. It should have been a block by Jared Vanderbilt. It was an insanely good block, like highlight reel block, but they called goaltending, but it was too early in the game to challenge it, so the call stood. I definitely don't think that it was goaltending. I think it was just a really good block. And we had a couple others where it was called goaltending when it probably shouldn't have been, but I mean, overall, I don't think that really swayed the game, especially because the Lakers ended up winning. So LeBron is like 54 years old and still absolutely amazing. He had a really good game. He started to look a little out of it for a while at like the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. I think he missed like an open shot and it was really bad. He wasn't really paying attention to where his teammates were. It's like he was just on autopilot on the court. I think that might contribute to them playing at the level of their opponent. I don't know if he expected to win and they just weren't putting in a whole lot of effort, or maybe he's saving his effort. They were exhausted in overtime though. The Timberwolves were looking really good, but at the end of the fourth quarter, there was like 5-6 full minutes of them not scoring. I think it was 6 full minutes, and they didn't score until right after Dennis Schroder almost hit the game winner. Mike Conley was in the corner, and Anthony Davis had a really dumb foul in the corner, and Mike Conley very narrowly saved the game temporarily. He saved them from losing to a game-winning shot, so there's that. But that 5-6 minute stretch was awful, and a lot of it was on Anthony Edwards too. Not to be disrespectful towards Anthony Edwards, he's had some amazing games, especially in the playoffs, and he has a lot of upside, but this game was not it for him. I think he was one of 13, 1 of 14 at one point from the field, and he kept taking shots, so like, great on him for that. Respect to him for continuing to take those shots and not losing his confidence, but he just wasn't making them, and a lot of those misses contributed to them not getting any points for that span of time. I'm not blaming him for the loss or anything. I think the Timberwolves as a whole kind of messed up, especially like I said before with the rebounding. I think they should have fought a little bit more, but the not scoring until the Mike Conley free throws was terrible, and we got into overtime, and the Lakers just kept adding on to that lead. The Timberwolves would score here and there, but from halfway through overtime, it just looked like it was going to be the Lakers game. Although we did get Taurean Prince. He had a really bad turnover at one point where he got the ball at the top of the key, and then it looked like he was trying to pass to a shooter in the corner, but he threw it way over his head. So that was a terrible turnover, but then he tried making up for it immediately after. He got an amazing steal, which led to a foul on LeBron James. It was a bit confusing to some people. It was a loose ball. The commentators were saying LeBron probably shouldn't have gotten the call there, but it was a foul called on LeBron, so the Timberwolves ended up with the ball. That looked like it could have turned into something, but the Timberwolves just weren't able to convert it. Overall, though, I think this definitely shows a lot of problems with the Lakers. I think that they need to figure out how to play at the top of their level. I mean, when you look at their roster on paper, it looks like they have a lot of really good pieces. I mean, they've got D'Angelo Russell, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis. They've got Rui Hachimura. They've got a lot of really good pieces, and it seems like they should be able to score, but they're just not scoring at the volume or the efficiency that you would want from them. And they also had a lot of bad fouls. They had some bad turnovers. They looked a little lost at some points. I think they definitely have some stuff to figure out, although I do think that there's a lot of upside. I think if Anthony Davis plays as strong and dominant as he showed glimpses of tonight, I think they definitely stand a good chance, especially against higher level teams. Like, I think a matchup of Anthony Davis versus like Jokic or Draymond Green or something like that, I think the Lakers definitely stand a good chance in that aspect. Although I don't think I don't see the Lakers going against the Nuggets anytime in the playoffs. Looking at the standings, they secured the 7th seed, so they're going to go against the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies are missing, they talked about it on the TNT broadcast, the Grizzlies are missing some big parts, especially Steven Adams. I think if the Grizzlies had Steven Adams, that ability to potentially out-rebound Anthony Davis would be very good for them, and I think they would stand a chance. But because they don't have Steven Adams, I think the Lakers are probably my pick to win the series. I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies win. I don't think it's crazy by any stretch of the imagination. I think if the Lakers win, it would probably be 6-7 games, and it would definitely be a fight. But I think because the Grizzlies are missing a couple key pieces, I think the Lakers probably have the ability to pull it out. I am excited to see more of this team, but I don't know how well they compare to the other top teams. I don't know if the Lakers would win against the Nuggets. I think Anthony Davis versus Jokic would be interesting, but I don't know if the team matchup would end up in a win for the Lakers. I also don't see them winning against the Suns. Probably not even the Clippers. I think the Warriors would be a bit of a fight. We have to see what Wiggins looks like whenever he gets back finally. I'm glad he is coming back. We'd have to see what he looks like. They might have a fight against the Warriors if they play against them. Overall, I think the Lakers have some upside, definitely. I think that they have some problems that we saw in this game that they need to work out, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the second round. I would be a little surprised if they make it to the conference finals, but I don't see it as completely impossible for them. The Heat, though, the Heat need better offense. That's all I can say. The Heat just need to be better offensively. I don't know if we can expect that, but that's what they need. But yeah, this was my first unscripted video. If you liked it, please drop a like. Let me know what you thought. If you have any ideas of what I could do better, then let me know down in the comments below. If you like my content, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. Thank you for watching, by the way, and yeah, I'll see you next time.